seven crises of the Christ life. The fourth crisis, the crisis of love. The one thing that has always been held before you in your Christian walk is the idea that you must love others and you must love God. This idea has caused so much frustration in our spiritual growth because no matter how spiritual we appeared to be, we couldn't love everybody in every situation at all times. More than this, we saw that we couldn't even love God as sincerely at some times as we did others. It is possible that out of this frustration, we came to our first crisis of seeing that we could not live the Christian life within ourselves. Perhaps our love techniques brought us to the understanding that there is no perfect human Christian love to be found. We saw this primarily from others whom we thought loved us but in circumstance exemplified everything but love. Christ is lover by us. This problem has been perfectly dealt with by the Heavenly Father. It was His intention to birth within us another who would be our righteousness and our only righteousness. Then, equally so, by the birthing, there would be another who would be love and the lover through us. God has never loved a human being aside from his Son. John 3:16 plainly says this, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. This is our introduction to an awesome factor that God does not and cannot love a creature for himself or in himself. Human beings are only loved and made acceptable to God by Christ. Only by the death of Jesus Christ could God love a world. This is a partial explanation of why the Lamb was slain before the foundation of the world. The Father obviously knew that the world would not be worth saving, for no created creature within himself could ever come to be what God wanted him to be. Lucifer in the Father's house had already proven this. So the Lamb was slain from the foundation of the world, that by the death of that Son, the Father might love the world. Not only was this so for the sinner, but also for the believer. For aside from Christ, the believer has no love. Certainly, the kind of love human beings demonstrate would fall far short of returning to God love for the awesome act at Calvary. How could God possibly have creature who could love him equal to the demonstration manifested at Calvary? Certainly, he did not depend upon humans to reciprocate love within themselves on the same basis as the death of Christ. But because Christ was birthed in the believer, God could now depend upon the Christ in the believer, loving through and by the believer. So the Father now would have reciprocating love equal to the kind of love he had when he slew the lamb and equal to the awesomeness of the death of the lamb. Just as Galatians chapter 2 verse 20 says, the life now we live in the flesh, we live by the love of the Son of God. There is no virtue of Christ that comes from the believer, for the branch cannot bear fruit of itself. It can only bear the fruit that is produced by the vine, Christ. To God be the glory. God bless you.